Okay, once we learned what multiplication is and that we had a good understanding of it being repeated addition and we could look at it in terms of equal groups or equal rows, we started learning some multiplication strategies. And in the beginning of the year, we focused on the factors 2, 5, and 10. So we really started looking at all the multiplication facts times those factors. And we know that anything times 2, we learned, is just a doubles addition. So if you have 8 times 2, you just know that it's really 8 plus 8. And boys and girls have been learning their doubles addition facts since kindergarten and first grade. So they really have a good, strong foundation for their doubles facts. So that was a really easy factor to start out with. Then we started looking at the factor times 5. And boys and girls, again, since kindergarten, first grade, have been practicing and learning how to count by 5s. So we knew anything times 5, we could just count by 5. So again, if it was 8 times 5, they knew that they could put up 8 fingers and just count by 5s. We also learned the times 10. And it was a really easy one that the boys and girls liked. And we learned that when you multiply by 10, put a 0 on the end. And so if you had 8 times 10, you would simply take the factor 8 and put a 0 on the end of that. We also looked at our times 0 facts and our times 1 fact and got an understanding of why when you multiply by 0, everything is 0, and why when you multiply by 1, the answer is always the other factor. And then, so we really practiced those at the beginning of the year, the times 2, 5, 10, 0, and 1. As we went on through the year, in fact, just in the recent weeks, we really started looking at times 3 and times 4, and we learned that we have a couple different strategies for times 3 and times 4. One of the strategies that some of the boys and girls end up adopting is the triple tap strategy. And what I mean by that is, again, let's say I'm going to stick with a factor 8. If we have 8 times 3, the boys and girls know that they can put up 8 fingers and they can tap each finger 3 times. And we've learned how to tap our fingers 3 times at the bottom, middle, and tip of their finger so that they can easily keep track. Or they could simply skip count by 3s. But for some boys and girls, that's a little bit hard. And so triple tap is a strategy that anybody can do no matter what their level of understanding is. Some boys and girls have moved past the triple tapping, and they know that anything times 3, they're first going to double the other factor, and then they're going to add a group. So for instance, 8 times 3, they know that they're going to do 8 plus 8, and they already know that's 16, and then they're going to add on another group of 8. A times 4 strategy, we learned how to quadruple tap our fingers, and we learned how to tap our fingers twice at the bottom of our finger and twice at the tip of our finger to help us keep track. So if we had 8 times 4, we would put up 8 fingers, and we know that we can tap each finger 4 times to get to our product. Now, again, some of the boys and girls have moved past that strategy, and they're a little bit better at the double-double strategy. So we know if it's 8 times 4, first we can double the 8, 8 and 8 is 16, and then we can double that, 16 and 16 is 32. So for some boys and girls, that is their go-to strategy. For others, quadruple tapping is really what they're most comfortable with. And the nice thing is with these strategies, no matter what level the boys and girls are in math, they can successfully multiply these numbers. And then finally, the last strategy that we learned just in recent days is the 9s trick, which has been my favorite trick, and we call that the take one off, make 9. And I'm going to do a whole separate video for this one, especially because we had a lot of boys and girls absent the day that we really looked at times 9, and I want you to understand what take one off, make 9 really means. So these are all of our easy factors, and these are problems that we can use as helper facts if we have a problem that we don't know. And I'll explain a little bit more of that here in just a few.